welcome back. Welcome back to the Koup.
Ow!
That was your funny bone? That was your funny bone? That was your funny bone? So, today, she just hurt her what was that? Your wrist? Your elbow?
My arm!
Your elbow? So it hit your funny bone?
Yes.
We're talking about health and not breaking your bones and not hurting yourself.
Are you healthy enough for a relationship?
Are you healthy enough for a relationship? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Are you healthy enough for a relationship?
Honestly,
If you ask yourself, am I healthy enough for a relationship?
the answer is no.
That's what you would tell yourself?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're in a relationship with me. You don't feel like you're healthy enough to
No,
be in...
if I had to ask myself that, am I healthy enough to be in a relationship? I know.
Right now?
No, I'm saying if I even have to ask the question.
Oh, okay. You be worrying me sometimes,
Oh
man.
my god. Okay. I think that means there is a point where we are not healthy enough to be in relationships. That's what I think. Sometimes you just need to chill and take a little break. Get your life.
Listen, your health
Get your healing.
impacts everything. Everything. And I think that's an important question to ask yourself because a lot of us aren't healthy enough for a relationship, but yet we still get into relationships. And then we bring whatever baggage or unhealthy tendencies or things that are in our personal life to the other person, and then so now you have healthy people coming into an unhealthy people coming into an unhealthy situation and expect it to work.
So what are some things we can consider?
So we got two. So we're gonna talk about two different types of
Health.
we're gonna talk about mental health, and we're gonna talk about in general, like your general health, and 5 ways both of those can impact your relationship, and like how and like why.
Some things to consider.
Just consider them. It might be part of your life, might be, but it's just we think it's important to notice.
I know these are things I've personally considered.
Really? Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about a mental health first. Number 1, communication. Right? If you're mentally unstable, and that doesn't mean like you have some sort of issue. It just means you're not able to communicate properly. You're not able to manage your emotions, your anger.
I think a big indicator is like, what is your thought life like? Is it
Thought
negative?
life. Right. Thought life?
Yes.
Thought life. I never heard of that one.
Really?
No.
I didn't make it up. I would like to say that I did. But
What is that? What is thought life?
It's everything that's going on in here. It's the relationship that you have, your thoughts have with the world around you. Are you thinking negative things about the world? Are you always beating yourself up? Do you look in the mirror and speak negative things towards them? Do you speak negative things in your head about other people? Do you everything that goes on in your thought life?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's important to have that maturity to be able to communicate with your person. The other day, Jasmine made me a sandwich
with so much love.
She brought me the sandwich. The sandwich looked amazing. It looked beautiful. It had the little grill.
Which is why I did what I did.
It had great grill. Let me tell a story. It had the grill marks on them. It was like a melted grilled cheese with eggs and turkey and all that stuff and spinach, and looked beautiful.
It was all melty and delicious.
However, she brought it to me. I didn't know when she brought. I knew when she brought it, but I know I was in the middle of something and I was gonna eat it after she brought it. And then when I was ready to eat it, there was a piece that got bitten off. I didn't know how to feel about that. I was like, I grew up in a place part of me.
So good.
I grew up where, you know, my mom was a chef. Like, she made her food and she made it look good, you know, for her kids. The way she fed her kids, how she fed everybody, right? And she was very meticulous about how she make her food, and she wanted her things to look, you know, a type of way. And that's what I was used to. So when I saw that, in a way, I kind of felt a little bit disrespected. In a way, I didn't know how to feel because I wanted the sandwich, and I know she worked hard to make it. And part of my mind was like, I know she didn't do it like mischievously. She probably was like, oh yeah, you know, we're sharing or whatever. But I couldn't like get it out of my head that I was feeling like a second, like a peasant. Like, you know, I'm gonna eat and then here's the leftovers, like here, you know what I mean? And so I was like, we had a whole conversation where I was like, I'm not gonna eat this thing because and
as a Latina woman, that hurt my feelings.
so but we ended up having a very important conversation about that. And it had nothing to do with the sandwich. It had nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying, how good it was, because I eventually ate it. But I wouldn't have eaten it if we wouldn't have had that conversation. But it made me feel a lot better. And in that conversation, she found out a lot about me and about, you know, how I feel about myself and how, you know, I was raised, and about, you know, what certain things can mean to me, and vice versa. I felt, you know, how she feels about family and about sharing and about all of that stuff. And it sort of was it got to a place where we came to a mutual understanding and communication amongst ourselves, where we said, you know, this is how we can go moving forward.
Literally, it was like a mixture of things. Obviously, I was a little bit frustrated because I had just made this thing, and I wasn't fully in the moment understanding why you were feeling that way. And I was like, it's not that big of a deal. You don't like sharing with me. And then I just wanted to cry and just like, but then another part of that is like TMI, but like I'm ovulating. So like my emotions were up here.
And that's why I think it's whatever relationship you're in, it's your responsibility to provide a safe environment to be able to communicate in that way. And I feel like if I communicate like this, we're gonna blow up, is gonna have a crazy conversation, and I don't want to get into that place. So what you want to attempt to or try to do is create a environment that is safe enough to have those conversations. Another thing to consider when talking about mental health is emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy. And
I think it's risky.
What is that? What do you mean?
You are being vulnerable and you are sharing yourself with somebody. You don't always know how they're going to respond to that. And you hope that you can both create an environment where you're both willing and able to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. But still, like if I communicate something with you, that's very personal to me or something in my past, I don't necessarily know how that's going to make you feel, you know? So I think it's risky, but I think that just comes with the relationship.
So I've always had an issue with that part. Emotional. We talked about intimacy.
You do a great job at creating a safe space for emotional intimacy.
Thank you, Beanie. I've struggled with that because that's just not how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't raised to be intimate, you know, vulnerable, open. Like that's not how I was raised. But because you were raised that way doesn't mean you
I wasn't either.
Because you weren't raised that way doesn't mean that you should continue to allow to live in a way that's not beneficial to you or your relationship. And I think being open and vulnerable and, sharing, being able to share is part of the, mental capacity that we all get to have. And I think it'll support everyone because you really just want to know, what the other person is thinking. Or what the other person is even just going through. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it. So number 3, conflict resolution.
I think you should do it right away.
Right
soon
away.
as you can. If it's a conflict and something has happened and you're both upset or feeling hurt or some kind of way, just as soon as you can. As soon as you're in a decent place where you can have that conversation.
And what does conflict resolution even mean? Like, how do you resolve a conflict? I don't think most people resolve conflicts, honestly. I think one person wins and the other person loses.
Or it's like swept under the rug and then it's brought up in another argument or something.
Right. In the past, how I thought I resolved a conflict was whatever the other person said, or whatever the other person did or I did, I made sure that I apologized as well. I said, even if this person did something super horrible and I had nothing to do with it, I thought, okay, if I can apologize as well, it can sort of bring sort of like an even sort of thing. But I realized that wasn't the way to go about it. I think it's important to hold yourself and your person accountable. Because what happened to me was that when you don't hold someone accountable and you're sharing in the responsibility, and sometimes it's important for the other person to be fully responsible. So how I've changed it and what we've implemented in our relationship is, if there is a conflict, number one, the person who has an issue can just say, hey, this is what the conflict is. And then the other person say, this is what I understand the conflict is, right? And so,
or how you're feeling about it.
Or how you're feeling about it. So when there's an understanding, then what? Number 2 is you come to an agreement. You have an agreement. You say, moving forward, I will try this or I will do that. And that agreement is binding because now you can hold the person responsible. If I was with her friends and I'm like, babe, you should put on more makeup, right? Obviously, I would never do that. But let's just say I did that. And then she comes home and say, hey, you know what? That didn't make me feel good. I can decide, okay, well, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. My intention was this and that, but I understand how you feel. Most people just end it there, right? Conflict is done. I'm sorry. However, they never get to the second part, which is moving forward, I'll be more mindful of what I say and when in front of your friends, because I know we joke a lot and I'll be more mindful and not do that again. Those are the kind of conversations that people don't necessarily have, because most of us just really don't have the mental capacity to even deal with certain things like that. That's why
I think when you have that conversation about what it is and you find the solution and you move forward, then it's not about keeping the tally marks of like, okay, I'm going to remember when you did this and bring it up again. Because I think what happens a lot is like it starts to build, and that's why like then when one thing happens, you get in this big argument and all these other things come up because we're not really dealing with it. We're just kind of like, okay, cool, I forgive you, just to have the peace again, but not like deciding in that moment, okay, I'm going to let this go. For real.
Yeah. So another one, self-care. That's your favorite.
Well,
we're talking about how, this can impact your relationship, how it can, self-care. Go ahead, say what you're going to say.
So I think so. Okay. So on one end of it, self-care is really important just for mental health in general. I think, taking care of like my hair, doing my makeup, like blah, 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 all that stuff. Okay. It's cool. But at some point it can turn into me doing these things for you because I know you like when my hair is done or when you like, etc., etc. And so just being aware of like when those things turn into for the other person, which is fine, but also making sure that there are some things in there just for you. Self-care just because it's something that gives you peace and brings you back to life. And I think that's just as important as doing something for the other person.
I don't know the history behind man caves. You know what I'm saying? Like the basement or the garage or whatever. I mean, obviously we in a modern world now, but if you're somebody like me, a heterosexual male, you need you need your space. You need to be able to like go and just do man things, build things, fix things, watch the game, play sports, you know what I'm saying? Like cool off with the dudes, like just hang out and just be a man. And, and I think, I'm just talking about, people like me in particular. It's important for us to have that time, have that space to do that, because you don't want to be like this all day, right? Because at some point it gets some type of way. I don't know what she's looking like right now. I don't know the face she's making because I'm not looking at her. I'm looking at y'all. But if you get that all the time, every day, every single, like at some point, like you may, I'm not saying you will, you may explode, right? Don't do that. Just go do man things, so that you don't. And at the same time, take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like get a haircut. You know what I'm saying? Like take showers, wear a cologne.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look good, buy a suit. You know what I mean? And get a manicure sometimes. You know what I mean? Like make sure you're really taking care of yourself. One of the last things that I think goes at the end, when you're at the end, is you stop caring about what you look like. Right? When I'm saying the end, y'all know what I mean, the end.
Sounds dramatic.
It is, and you stop caring. So part of that is being mindful of that.
I think self-care also, if we're talking about health in the relationship, how much self-care are you doing in regards to just like the world? We are bombarded with information, with ads, with social media, with everywhere we turn, there's an ad, there's just so much going on. And I think it is important to detox from even those things. And I think that will benefit the relationship.
I do like to know what's going on around the world when it comes to really everything. You know what I mean? Like politics.
No, like literally
politics, finances, wars, health stuff around the world, everything. And I just want to know. But one of the things that I love about Jasmine is that she don't know nothing. She ain't
wow.
trying to know nothing. But that's
not true.
I mean, she knows, but like the amount of information I know, like I have a text group that we talk about those things, and I hardly talk to it. Sometimes I'll we'll talk about that stuff.
You give me the summary.
Yeah. But I don't want to do that just because she's filled with the things that I need in order to be able to consume all that stuff. So we sort of balance each other out. So it's one of the things that I do really love about Jasmine is the fact that I'm always reminded to come back to the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
it's like what's here,
Right. So that goes into our fifth one, which is support. Support. If you know your person is dealing with some sort of mental health, and when we talk about mental health, we always talk about like the extreme, like
You know,
ADHD or like some sort anxiety, depression, bipolar, all that stuff.
Which is all very real.
It's all very real and it's just important. But for a lot of people don't suffer from those. A lot of people do, but there's a lot there's levels to emotional health and mental health, and part of it is the way you were raised when you were growing up. I was raised to not say I love you and to hug and stuff like that. Is that a mental health issue? I don't know. It might look that way to certain people, because if you're not connected with that, you won't be able to like open up in ways. You won't be able to embrace people in ways. You won't be able to show love in the way that your person likes to receive love, or all those different things. And I think it's important for you to realize those things and support your person, know your person, know what type of, well, first of all, know you so that you can express who you are to your person. But once you do that, study the person that you're with. Get to know them. Get to know what makes them happy, what makes them sad, what turns their heart, find the key that can unlock all these areas in your person, so that you can support them when they're dealing with an issue, or when they're dealing with something that is whether it's happy, bad, sad, good. You can support them in that, in a way that's beneficial to them. And that, I just feel like support is so important. But you don't do that if you don't know that person. Am I making sense?
Yeah. And actually, this is something I learned recently, because I'm pretty sure with the sandwich situation, actually. Or it just like hit me harder this time, because there's something that you said to me. You said, I just want you to understand me.
Yeah. I told Jasmine Tarishi started reading this book called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. Go get it. It's a good book. But it's, it just shows the dynamics between masculine and feminine, and understanding. And if you put all those things together, along with the person that you're with, like the kind of their love language and all the things that you know about them, and you can get to know the person, the communication changes. And so now, one of the reasons why I asked Jasmine to read it is because I feel like it spoke to me in a lot of ways, and it sort of like reminded me of, how my dad was and how I was raised, and not to say that this is the way I need to be, but it's to help her understand, or help me understand, that this is the way I have been, and because I have been these ways, I make these decisions in this way. And how can we both support, myself and her support me, to really continue to get to know myself a lot better, and to get to know why I make certain decisions. And I just think that's so important.
Yeah. And my experience with that was, I think I'm always going to really go back to my period, because it's a really big conversation in my life. And I know a lot of women can relate to me. Probably even the men probably are like, oh my gosh, she keeps talking about her period, and I just want to mute this. Because that's literally what his friend did to me. That's what your friend did to me the other day. He's like, what? Ignored me because I was talking about my period.
Oh, yeah, that's what he's... Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. I've noticed that I have a lot of days where you support me with my emotional well-being, where you will remind me of my calling, my journey when I'm like sad and discouraged, or you'll remind me of like who I am, all these things that you really put a lot of effort into, and I appreciate that. But what hit me the other day was, even in those moments, you still need me to.
Right, but it's also, allowing your person to be confident in themselves, and giving them, opening up the door for your person to be, to support you if you need it. Because a lot of the times they won't know if you need support. You know?
Yeah.
So when you a guy, you ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to admit that you could use some support, or
Not just guys, but I understand what you're saying.
every now and then, like, right, not just guys. Every now and then it feels good to say, to hear, I'm proud of you. Or to hear, you know, you're doing great. Or to hear, you know, keep it up. Or to hear, you know, anything like health, physical health. And listen, this is important. This is important.
We already know what he's gonna say.
Wait, what am I gonna say?
Go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
What am I gonna say?
Go ahead.
I don't know what I'm gonna say. I was gonna say it's important to be healthy. It's important
Physical.
to take. Wait, hold on. It's important to take care of yourself. It's important to eat healthy because we want to live long lives. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be. Let me be careful. Nobody. We would all prefer to be in a healthy relationship with a healthy person.
Okay.
Because we want to live a long and healthy life. Not all of us have that privilege. You know, some people have missing limbs. Some people, you know, may have gotten into, you know, a whirlwind where they, you know, ate too many donuts and they got a certain way. But that gets us into the first part. We got 5. The first one is physical attraction.
And how that affects a relationship.
Right. So, I mean, are we gonna be real, or are we just gonna be like,
go, be real?
Like, so we all want to be with somebody who looks beautiful, right? Yeah. Is that a false statement? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there might be a couple people who like ugly people. I don't know.
Don't use the word ugly. Will think that person is beautiful. So yes.
Right. So it's what's the word?
Subjective.
It's subjective. But you want to. I want to be with a healthy person, and because I want to be physically attracted to that person.
Are you?
I want my person to not weigh more than me.
Wow. Okay.
I want my person to look good and not be shoving, eating more food than I am.
Sometimes I eat more than you.
Yep, you're right about that.
Okay, what I would like to say is, I think okay, obviously, blah blah blah, all the things about physical attraction, yada yada.
What other thing? That's important. That's important for the real people in the world.
Absolutely.
That are listening to this or watching this.
I was attracted to you. I was attracted to you because you were healthy. Because you understood healthy eating habits. You understood what health was. You cared about it. You researched it. You, you were actually taking steps towards health in your life. That to me was way more valuable.
Have we ever? Wait, this is a real question. Wait, I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
The end.
That was more the end. That was more valuable. Maybe you have, but
what is that?
I think has there ever been an I don't like what's the not mean word? Overweight. We're gonna use overweight because I just used another word. Is there have you ever seen a 70-year-old overweight married couple?
How many years old?
70. We want to live till we're 70, right? At least.
I don't know.
When I mean overweight, I mean like, obese. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Some people are overweight, but there's a reason for that. It might be a couple, might be 2 or 3, maybe a couple couples. But there's a reason for that is because when you're overweight, you get diabetes, you get all types of heart issues, and you have problems. You gotta take medications.
This is
take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you for saying that. This is a real
Okay.
conversation. I mean, honestly, you know, health is very important. It doesn't always.
Right now, we're talking about physical attraction.
Right now, we're talking about physically, but yes, just being healthy is extremely important for any relationship.
Okay, now if I got fat, will you still?
I would still love you. I would tell you.
Right, but you might not want to kiss me as much.
No, I would.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know if my person, you know what I'm saying, started weighing what I weigh, I'm gonna be like, yo, like.
What about when I'm like pregnant or something?
You ain't gonna weigh more than me. You're not gonna weigh more than me.
Okay.
At some point, I know the baby gonna come out, so I can understand that, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know, support you through that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my person to weigh more than me.
He has a fun future ahead of him to realize that.
We gonna weigh more than me?
No, but I'm just saying.
You saying
bodies change.
You gonna weigh more than me?
When you give birth.
I know that. So I know bodies change, but like, you want your person to be healthy, look healthy. I want to be attracted.
Be healthy.
I want to be attracted to the person that I'm with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be real. Some people could be fake. I want to be attracted to my person.
Okay.
I want to be physically attracted to my person.
Okay. How does stress affect? How does health and fitness affect stress?
Right. When you work out, the more you work out, the less stress. What's the science? There's science behind this. Can you look it up? Can you look up the science behind this?
Science?
There's science behind it. Can you look it on your phone? Look it up. So, you build, libido. You get libido too. That helps you in other areas. You know what I'm saying? You're a dude. But anyway, endorphins, stress relieving, releasing endorphins.
Yes, baby.
Is it stress? She's looking it up. It pumps up your endorphins. Right. I couldn't think of the word. So that relieves a lot of stress, period. And you don't want to bring stress into your life, because when you bring stress in your life, not only is it bad for your health, it's bad for your relationship, because now you're stressed out about something. So now, like, you know, we're going to be stressed out about things. A way to help that is go work out. Go for a hike. Go play basketball. Do something and not just be stressed out. You know, that's life. You know, unfortunately, that's part of being a human, is you're going to be stressed out sometimes. But you can do something about it.
It's interesting when stress happens. I feel like a lot of times it's easy to just like wallow in that and accept like, okay, this is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But something that's been helping me is asking myself, or like telling myself, things don't have to be this way. So for example, like if I'm stressing about something, I think a lot of times we think like, oh, this is just how life is and that's it. But when you think about it, you could just, wait, let me just take a second and go outside. Or let me just, right? There's different things that we can do. And even if it's like a life shift, like what if you are going to something and that's, you know, people there stress you out or something. You can decide, might not be an easy decision, but you can decide, maybe this isn't the place I want to go to anymore. Like you can, you know, or maybe these friends are not the people I want to be around. Like sometimes it's a harder question to ask yourself, but there is something we can do. Life isn't like permanent the way that it is right now. It can change. We can make different decisions, and sometimes it's just about acknowledging that. I'm like,
long story short, work out so you're not stressed out and you don't bring the stress into a relationship.
And go outside because the sun makes you happy.
Or take some vitamin D.
And put some sunscreen on. Okay.
Shared activities. If you got, here's the truth behind this stuff. So I had lower back issues, right? Jasmine likes to hike. We don't hike a lot. Not that, you know, it's because my lower back issues. It's just, I don't like going on crappy hikes. I like going on real hikes. But there are some people who have back issues or knee issues or whatever issues, and they can't do activities with their person. You can't share those moments where you go out and play basketball together, where you go on a hike together, where you go on a walk together, where you do certain things. So why is that important? Because you're going to share not only memories, but you're also sharing, what did they say? Oh, I don't know who's they, but like one of the things they always say, a couple who works out together stays together. I mean, they say that for a lot of things. But listen, it's good to have a workout buddy. And if your person is your workout buddy, even better.
It's good to experience your partner in different environments, in a competitive environment, in a fun environment, in something that you like and something that they like. Yeah.
That's it.
So I think shared activities just brings people together and puts them under a different light, which I think is great. Or it might also
go hiking. Go on a
bring up different conversations.
Go on a snowboarding trip.
Yeah.
Or go or do yoga together, or Pilates, or sit-ups, or whatever. Like, I feel like it's important to share those moments with your person.
And if you know that your partner enjoys doing something and you physically can't because of something going on, I think it's important to ask yourself, well, what's going on with me, and how can we as a partnership, how can we
not let this run our lives?
Right. And how can we make it better? How can we improve this? You know, whether that's okay. Maybe we've decided we got to spend a year, going to physical therapy, and that's something that I'm going to support you with this year. I don't know, whatever, but just like not accepting it, especially if you know that your partner enjoys doing something. I think it's important to take a look at what could be impeding that situation and make an effort to be able to do it.
Number 4, sexual health.
Sexual health.
Sexual healing. Oh, baby, makes me feel so fine. Listen, when you a dude and you work out, I'm talking about dudes. I'm talking about heterosexual dudes. When you work out, you get you know what I'm saying? You can do your thing. Your libido, and you feeling good. You get all that energy, and you can, you know what I'm saying? You can be all that you can be in all the places that you want to be that person. I'm just saying it for the, you know what I'm saying? Y'all feel me, right? They know who I'm talking to. They know what you're talking about.
I don't want to look at the lens. I want to look at myself.
Don't do that. Look at the lens. I've been looking at the lens the whole time.
Okay.
Every now and then I'll poke up there.
I look at myself.
Don't do that. Look at the lens. Next time I'm
no,
not leaving that.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
it's there,
okay,
so I can see that we're in focus.
Here's my take on sexual health.
Uh-oh.
It's a conversation I haven't had in my life very much, because it's a very weird situation where I'm still looking at the screen. It's a very weird situation where, especially growing up Christian, the only conversation you're having is abstaining. And that's basically the end of the conversation. Just don't do it. And
what? So
well,
let's talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Are you getting stressed out right now?
No.
How you feeling?
I'm fine.
Okay. So because I have a lot of friends, Christian friends. I have a lot of, people that I know who have abstained for a long time. And how does that impact? See, this is something that I think has research been done on this? Is there research on this?
Probably.
Like, how does it impact?
No, we're gonna have another episode on this.
How does it impact I'm not talking about just your relationship, but just your health. That's something that I'm not saying that it's, hey, listen, if you're that person, hey, more power to you. And, I commend that. And I think it's very important. And that decision that you made, I think will pay off. But I think it's also important to think about what is the impact of that. I mean, if we're just gonna be real, can we be real?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone wants to stay. Well, maybe not everyone. Some people. A lot of people want to stay, virgin until they get married, right? For a lot of people, that doesn't happen. But for some people, it happens, right?
Yeah.
And for those people, in the past, like they got married at an early age, right? Or can we be real?
Go for it.
18, 21, you got married, and then you like sold your royal oats. They said that. That's what they're saying. And Coming to America, he sold his royal oats. Anyway, did you watch that movie? You didn't watch?
No, I've never seen that. I've never seen that in my life.
I'm sorry. I'll put I apologize for all of the Black people who are watching this podcast and who are listening to this. Your person can't be perfect. There are certain things that you just get to deal with, and I know it's hurting a lot of you. It's hurting me. I have to live with it, and I know you're hurt. It's one of the best movies ever. And, you got to understand, not too many people watched it, not too many people, most people watched it, but there are some people who didn't watch it. And so you just gotta deal with that. But we'll pray on that. All right. So, for those in the past, they got married in a younger age. Now people are getting married at 28, 29, 30, 40, 50. No, not 50.
Maybe.
But not maybe. But there's a lot of people who get married now at 35, at 40. I know a lot of 40-year-old single. I have a couple friends who, they say they're 40 or something, or close to 40, and they say they haven't, done that. I'm like, are you a nun? Are you not like looking for somebody? Like, you're single right now. You might as well just put on the white. What do the nuns wear? I don't know what it's called. But I don't know.
This is a whole conversation because, right, you grew up in a certain way.
Listen, my dad was a pastor. I grew up where you grew up. Don't tell me.
No, you didn't. It's different. Because
you're a woman. Because you're a woman.
Sure. Actually, yeah. Because there is my point is, I never had these conversations, and I didn't even realize how important sex was for our physical bodies. It affects stress levels and all these different things, and just the way that our body was made, it was created to benefit from sex. So even if you feel called to abstain till marriage, abstaining is amazing, but it might have some effects that you don't actually know about. Overall health. No, I love talking about
you want your person to be healthy. So support your person in their health.
For long-term purposes.
Long-term.
You have kids.
We talked about, you want to be able to lift up your grandkids. I want to be able to lift up my grandkids. I want to be able to
play basketball with them.
Play ball with my grandkids. I'm not talking about my kids. I'm talking about my grandkids. So
also your kids. Also your grandkids.
Yeah, but so take care of yourself. Not everyone gets that opportunity, right? But I think you can work towards that. You can work towards having that opportunity. And that takes some responsibility. It takes some commitment. It takes ownership of where you are, and deciding if you want to stay there or if you want to do something about it. And that's a conversation you get to have with your person as well. Who doesn't want to be healthy and live a long life? And there's some people who eat a lot and eat all the bad things. Like, I know some friends who is fit but eat garbage, right? Or some people who are eat a lot and still skinny but they have no muscles or whatever. Those are skinny fat. We call them skinny fat. And so all of it, you got to take all of it into account. What is, I know you want to say some stuff. My thing is I eat too much sugar at night, meaning like sweets and stuff. And like, so I got to tell my person, stop buying these bananas, because when you buy bananas, you got to make banana nut bread. And you make banana nut bread, I got to eat it. I have to eat it.
Okay, can I end this episode with something important?
Okay.
There is a buttload of information on how to manage all of these things. Mm-hmm. Mental health, physical health. There's 1,000,001 recipes and workout things. I'm going to try to not make this long-winded, but you get my point.
That would be the first.
I think the most important part is to assess what your vision is, who you want to be, who you are, who God created you to be, to ask the hard questions, to accept where you are, to take responsibility, ask the hard questions. And I think the point of change comes when, you've heard that saying, when the point of staying the same, when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, because changing is not easy. Until you get there, get there, things don't change. And so really, I believe that people hearing this are at that point where they're saying, I want my relationship to change in this way. I want to improve in this area for whatever reason. And it's got to change. It's not worth it anymore to stay the same. And when that moment comes and you spend that time alone asking these questions and really dealing with these things, I believe that all you need to do is ask the first question. I believe God shows up in those moments where he'll bring a solution. Not all of it at once. Maybe that's why it's a little overwhelming to hear all these different things. But you just ask one question. You move in that direction, and then something else comes up. And then something else comes up. And I think a lot of times we want to just have the whole thing figured out and try to get all the information from everywhere. But it's not until it's a revelation within yourself that God cares about and wants to actually take you on that journey towards healing in whatever area. When you seek it, you will find it. And I believe that God wants that for you. Just be patient. That's what I wanted to say. Don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot that goes into having a... I'm just going...
No, I know there's more. I'm just waiting for you to say the more.
I'm just saying there's a lot that goes into having a healthy relationship from what I'm seeing and learning about it. And it can feel overwhelming sometimes, but that's not what the point of it is.
Right. Again, disclaimer. We don't know. We're testing this. We're trying this thing out like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what our career will look like? Who knows, if and when we'll have kids? Who knows? Who knows what our wedding is going to look like? Who knows, how long, who knows? But what we do know is we want it to work, and we're working towards it.
And these are all the things we take into consideration and we have asked ourselves.
Yeah. So join us on the next episode of Koup Moderna. It's my
Wait.
No.
How do you end episodes?
That's it.
Okay, bye.
The music already started playing a long time ago.